BRC-20s, right? We talked about this last week. Felt like no one listened. Even BitdGod tweeted it. Felt like people were cool. And then all of a sudden, we're tweeting more that it's coming. And everyone's like, wait, what? The project? You're doing a BRC-20? Like, bro, we've been talking about this. Adam, I usually explain this. How about you take this turn? Define what the BRC-20 Curated Collection is and what do you expect from it?
Sure. I mean, you've seen a couple of BRC-20s try to make the move to Ethereum already. And they're using traditional bridging, right? Where you send your BRC-20 basically to a wallet on Bitcoin, and they mint brand new ERC-20s on the other side on Ethereum, right? We all know about bridges. We all know the problems with bridges. And of course, Emblem, our team, this is what we do. We're not big on bridges. We are not fans of bridges. We know all the problems with bridges. And so our solution, where you're sending your BRC-20 to your own wallet that you control, as an ERC, token or NFT on Ethereum, that provides a level of ownership that you have control over, right? Which we believe is far superior to bridges. And so, yeah, we're working with both the OXBT and ORDI teams, and we're going to launch these products, which are going to allow all sorts of use cases that we know and love on Ethereum. The principal one is Blur, right? Blur farming, the way people use Blur. It's super excited. I mean, I'm super excited about it to see how the Ethereum marketplace reacts to this, right? How are they going to look at, tokens from Bitcoin as an opportunity to trade, to farm, and do all the rest of it with, right? So basically our product, people are going to have the opportunity to send in an exact amount of BRC-20. And basically, because it's an exact amount, it's just going to provide very easy liquidity on Blur and these different platforms and stuff. And I mean, we're already in talks with people to allow, loans against these things and all this sort of stuff. And so all these things that require smart contracts that live on Ethereum that's already built, basically we're taking the BRC-20 token, bring it over to Ethereum and allow those tokens to have the same level of use cases and, marketplaces and trading platforms and liquidity. It's all available to them. And I do believe this is going to be built out on Bitcoin, but this stuff could be years away from being fully built on Bitcoin. It may not even be possible on L1 Bitcoin, right? It's going to probably be on an L2 Bitcoin. But it's possible right now on Ethereum, and we're just allowing it to happen. And super excited about it. It's going to be fun to watch, bro. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch, to see how the Ethereum people react to this. It's going to be interesting, man.
The conversations between Domo and BitdGod are similar, but there's some distinct interest in it. For Domo, right, as the creator of BRC-20, for him, he's really excited that he gets to show his creation to Ethereum.
100%.
Right. There's probably, and as you're talking about or discussing about BRC-20, probably to L2, Domo got an advisory role with an L2 on Bitcoin, right? If that doesn't show where the direction of it's going, then that's kind of, the progress. And Domo's open to Ethereum. He knows some of the issues that exist, but for him, getting BRC-20 exposure on Blur and on OpenSea, which captures probably 90% of the eyeballs in the NFT sector, is huge, absolutely huge. And for BitdGod and the OXB team, they're in experimentation mode. They're a team, right? Domo did the decentralized mint, so he doesn't even have a large treasury because it was very similar to Bitcoin. And ORDI is now, I think it's 70% of the market cap, maybe even more, of BRC-20s. And it's more just a reserve of BRC-20. I would say ORDI is very similar to what Bitcoin is to the rest of the sector. It's just a place to store value. OXBT is an actual team, right? They held back about 10% of the supply, plus or minus a few percent. And they're experimenting. They're talking with OKX. They've put some of the token into the Alex bridge, right? They're trading natively. They're doing these these auctions with OXBT for these NFTs. They're open experimentation. They have a large BitdGod community who's very familiar with how Ethereum works. He also mentioned that they're just talking with market makers and some of these other things. And for him, as the team, right, they also get a share of the royalties, and we get to create a more efficient market. First, there's no buyer's fee for this at all. And what that means is that if you go to Magic Eden and you buy BRC-20, there's a 2% buyer's fee on that. So you don't have, there's no buyer's fee on OpenSea or on Blur. We have a 1.5% royalty, which we're making standard across. Our standard for ordinals is 2.5% for the NFT version. 1.5% to help it trade or make it feel similar to fungible tokens, and to stay competitive with the rates. I believe ordinals wallet's 2%, Unisat's 1.7%. I think they're all kind of around that range, so we're keeping that very competitive. Because Blur also has no marketplace fee. So it's just straight 1.5%. OpenSea has a 2.5% fee. So you'd be trading 4% versus 1.5%. There's no requirement for transfer inscription. What does that mean, right? If you've traded native BRC-20, you have to write a transfer inscription for the amount that you want. And at some point, if you want to cancel it, then you have to write it. If you cancel that listing, you got to write another one. So it's going to take 10 minutes to even just, say you want to sell something. So it just makes for a very inefficient market here, because the BRC-20 sits inside of a Taproot wallet that's inside of an NFT. The NFT is the thing that's traveling, the ERC-721. So you get this more efficient market. And since everything is the same, since all the values are the same, there's no type of manipulative listing behavior to where somebody overprices something because they're hoping the Blur farmers just like bid wall into it. It's all the same. And one of the main issues you see with the NFT space that they complain about a lot is they say that Blur has turned NFTs into fungible tokens. Well, here we have NFTs again, which I guess they are technically are NFTs on Bitcoin, but they trade like fungible tokens. Here we get to actually decide or test it out. Are these fungible tokens or are these NFTs? I think that's kind of like the big aha moment to see how it goes from here. But my favorite part as well is that a lot of these ETH whales, regardless of the Blur farmers, there is a large amount of users on ETH who just don't want to go through the learning experience of Bitcoin. It's clunky, right? For them, it's a downgrade because the infrastructure is minimal, 10-minute block times versus 2.5-second block times on Ethereum. But to just have it presented in front of them to say, hey, here's some BRC-20 exposure, you could go buy this right now, then I think that's very appealing for some of them. So the numbers here's the numbers. So it'll be 2,000 OXBT per vault and 200 ORDI. So 2,000 OXBT at, I think it's at 6 cents now, 7 cents, right? It's about $150 or so. 200 ORDI at $5 is, right, it's $1,000. So about half an ETH and about, what is that, 0.1 ETH or 0.08 ETH for those. So that will be it. And this type of opportunity.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the cat hitting the crickets. Yeah. My cat's on my soundboard, man.
You got dogs, pigs, cats?
I got dogs. I got cats, bro. Look at this fine line. Look at that.
Oh man, that is a big kitty. The last thing is this will bring a lot of arbitrage opportunities, right? Because Ethereum trades more efficiently than NFT marketplaces do. The volatility and price movement will flow much faster than the 10-minute block times that have been on Bitcoin. So you'll probably see, this is just my speculation or my guess, you'll probably see the Ethereum price run away from Bitcoin. So then people probably unvault and then go back to Bitcoin to sell it. And they'll probably go back and forth between them. But it'll be a fun experience. We're going to launch those two first. I think I lost Adam for a second, so it'll be just me talking for a second. We're going to launch these two next week. Look for an announcement from Domo and BitdGod's on Monday. So look for that. And you'll follow along with all the festivities for next week. Just be very, very ready for that. We've actually gotten a large amount of requests as well for BRC-20s from other creators. And there's a lot of unique prospects to it, as Adam kind of teased already. Some of the financialized NFT platforms have reached out to us to explore what BRC-20 NFTs can do on Ethereum. And go ahead, Dogfather.
Man, I would really love to know about your listing requirements on Emblem Vault. I mean, this is a really hard decision. Now you're like Coinbase deciding on which coin to launch next. So that's really exciting, man.
Yeah. So Emblem will never charge, at least in this current position now. We're not charging a listing fee for anybody. We're sharing royalties. We also make some revenue off of vault sales. So we're not trying to take that Binance route, right? Unless things get like absolutely crazy where we're kind of forced to in that position. We want to make this a frictionless experience. So we present to them, and if there are any BRC-20 creators here, the main questions are like, how large is your treasury? Do you want to put up some of the initial liquidity in the beginning? What is your objectives? Do you have a kind of a cross-chain community? For example, there was one BRC-20 creator that has an ETH and a Bitcoin collection. So they have ordinals and ETH NFTs, and they also have a BRC-20. So for them, vaulting BRC-20s, they said is appealing because now they can kind of, they can be integrated within both communities to go back and forth, right? Like a multi-chain community. And the number or the amount that you want. We try to, and Adam emphasizes this a lot, make it a very round number for whatever the answer is. Simple as possible. My suggestion,
I like easy numbers, man. Small brain, easy numbers.
my initial suggestion was 210 ORDI, and the reason why was because it would make it a possibility of 100,000 vaults, right? So with OXBT 2000 out of 200 million, you can have 100,000 possible vaults. And from our experience, at least from what we've seen so far, vault penetration from collections is anywhere between like 10% to 50%. 50% being mostly just the punk derivatives who come to use Emblem to trade on OpenSea. And then some are the lower ones for some of the more like liquid. You know, this could be this could just be completely different where this is the new paradigm and people end up vaulting, you know, 60, 70% of that collection. So it's really to be determined. But also think about that number that they want. Like, what is the maximum amount of total supply as a BRC-20 creator would you like? Would you like a max supply of 100,000 vaults, 200,000 vaults, 50,000 vaults? And so from there, you got to think about that number. And then we ask them as well about what their image. We want them to create their OpenSea page. I mean, if they don't want to, then we will do it for them. But we, Emblem Vault, we're the curators of this, but we don't want to be like, you know, the sole arbiter of truth for this. This is everyone's collections, some, like kind of just like, I guess maybe some alpha, but down the road, like the goal is to, you know, share these ownerships. The intermediary would be shared ownership over your curated collection, and then eventually transition it to ownership over the creator of that contract. We don't want it. We don't want to have keys to all this stuff, right? You know how much of a pain in the ass that is. It's a lot of responsibility, but we have to get there over time. It's kind of the idea. So I hope that answered some questions.